Welcome back. In this particular video, I want us to take a look at conditional statements, right? So what exactly are conditional statements? So let's see. So I love to tell people that programming generally is all about conditional statements. If something happens, we should do this. If a certain condition is met, we should do that. If it's not met, we should do another thing, right? So so that's what it is. So now in this particular case, we want to check if the age is 28, if the age is above 18, so that we can display some certain information. Now this is what we're going to do now. So for us to do that, conditional statement is always like this. We have our if statement, and our if statement start with the word if, then inside the bracket parenthesis we have our condition. So inside there comes in our what, our condition. Then we have our curly braces. Then inside of our curly braces comes in our block of code, as I would love to call it, or better still, what I would love to call what we want to happen if the condition is actually met, right? So in this particular case, I want us to keep working with this particular age variable, and I want to say something like this. I want to say stuff like if age, right? So my condition is if age is what's greater than 18. For example, now you could see that we are using a greater than operator, right, which falls under the relational operator, right? So we are checking if the age is greater than 18. So now if age is greater than 18, we want it to be able to console log something to the user to say want to console log something to the user. Say console.log. What do we want to console log to the user? We want to say, okay, the user, in this case now, whose name is whatever name, I want to use anyone and say I'm John, or something like, say the name of, let's say the name of the user is John. We want to say, John, you are underage, right? So for us to do that, we have to use concatenation, right? So where we are creating operators, we did not add that this addition sign here, which is plus, can also means concatenation too as well. So let's use that addition sign as concatenation. Now we'll say something like concatenation. What would we want to concatenate? We want to say John, or want to say, okay, let's use, this is string, of course we're using code. We want to say something like oops, you, okay, this is not oops, greater than 8. Right, okay, let's use less than so that we can use the word oops. So it looks like an error. Oops, you are underage, John. So if I use addition sign here, what I'm using here, right, is what we call what, concatenation. This is not addition, this is concatenation. So what is concatenation operator? Concatenation operator, which allows us to use plus and allow us to join two things together so that we can display them. So I'm going to leave a space in here as well, right? So if age is less than 18, we're going to see oops, you are underage. So let's save this now. Let's go to our browser in this case, and if I refresh this, we still see just Paul, nothing is showing. The reason is the fact that this condition is not met, so the condition is not true. So this only happens when this condition is true. So in this particular case, it's 22, which simply means that 22 is greater than 18, so the condition is not true, so it's not working. So let's make the condition true. So let's make the age 17, right? So is age less than 18? Of course it is true, so we are going to see this. So let's go back and refresh. So if I refresh this now, I'm going to see that oops, you are underage Paul, because of course the name of the user in this case is Paul, right? And that is because we use another concatenation operator here to add Paul to whatever thing that we're trying to do. Now this is us using just one statement in our conditional statement, which is if statement, right? So we can also use the if else statement as well. So the if else statement allows us to have more than one condition. For example, now let's say age is 22 back. We're going to say if else if, let me use the word else. So we're going to say else. So else will not have any argument. So else is what is going to happen if the condition is not met, if it is not true. Else, let's say console.log, it seems you do not fall under any age bracket. Let's use that word. Right? This could be anything depending on what we are trying to program. It seems you do not fall under any age bracket. Alright, so let's save that there. Right? You can also concatenate it with the name as well. Alright, so let's save this and go and refresh it right now and see. So you see, it seems you do not fall under any age bracket, Paul. Right, so there is no space between bracket and Paul because I did not add a space in here. So I'm going to add a particular space. I'm going to drop it there. Say it seems you do not fall under any age bracket, Paul. Right, so that means I've used my else statement. So the else statement is allow us to create a diff for what will happen if nothing happens. Now there's another conditional statement that we could use, which is the else if statement. So the else if statement, I could come over here and type else if with a braces, another curly bracket in here, then I have my condition here. So the else if, I can say if age is greater than 18, and I want to use the word and age, let's use an age is less than 25, right? So let's use our double ampersand sign, and age is less than 25. So if age is greater than 18 and age, that means if age is 26, this stuff is not going to work. So now I'm going to use console.log. I'm going to say you are a middle-aged person. You are a let's use that word, middle-aged person, John. Or a young adult, anyone. I don't know if I'm correct. I'm just trying to make a point here. You're a middle-aged person. So now if, of course, we should be expecting to see that because age is 22, so it falls under this particular. You could see that because we're using and here now, we've made use of the logical operators. So if I go back and I refresh this now, I'm going to see you're a middle-aged person, right? So this is basically how you write programs, right? So if this is 17, let's repeat this, let's change this value. If this is 17, we are supposed to see, oops, you're underage, right? And if this is 30, for example, you are going to say it seems you do not fall under any age bracket, right? So if I refresh this, it seems you don't. So, but with the else if statement, you can actually write more than one else if statement, right? As so many as possible as you can write, right? And that is what we call our else if statement. So let me write another else if statement here. I'll say else if, right? I can write as so many else if statements. I can say else if age greater than 30 but less than age greater than 30, and let me use this other operator now, and age less than 50. It's giving me error, so let me just use back my double ampersand, and age less than 50, sorry, age less than 50. So I'm going to say console.log. What I want to log now will be something like you are fully grown. You're fully grown now. You're fully grown, John. Let's use that word. That does not mean that someone that is 25 is not fully grown anyways. So I will save this now. If I come back and I refresh, it's still showing me it seems you do not want any age category. So let's say 30. So if it's greater than 30, see. So let's use this word greater than or equal to 30, right? So that it's going to show us that particular one now. See, you are fully grown, Paul. All right, so that is what you see there, that is what you get actually, right? So if you're using else if, so the point I'm trying to make with the else if is that you can have more than, if you have like several conditions that you want to checkmate, you can use else if and checkmate that particular condition. Now this brings us to another aspect of conditional statement that is called switch. So in a case where we have more than one else if statement, we can choose to use switch. So if you want to use switch, so you just type in switch here, you bring in what you want to check here, which is in this case it's age. Then you can do something like this. Then you can say case where the age is 30, for example, right? You want to have some piece of code like this, and in this particular case you want to console.log that you are 30 years old, you are fully grown, for example, and so we want to do something like that. Then if it works, you want to break it, of course. Then you want to add another case again, let's say 17. You want to be able to say console, console.log you are underage. Then you could choose to break this again as well, and we can now also include default, right? So default is what happens when any age that you include, basically, right? So anything that happens, so these are default statements. We could say that we could use the word it seems you do not fall under any age bracket. All right, let's just assume that this is what we're trying to do. Then if we save this down, go back to our browser and refresh, say you are fully grown, because of course this age is 30. So if we change it to 17, yeah, and go back and refresh, we see the second one, you are underage. See, that's because there's a little error here. Instead of 0, I use that typo error. So you are underage. So this one is the first if else statement that to show you. This one is for the switch statement. So this is conditional statement for us. So you can either use a bunch of else if, or you can use switch statement as well to do a bunch of else if statement as well. So thank you for watching this particular video. See you in the next video.